My child, you are not here by accident. Pause for a moment and let that truth settle into your heart. Out of thousands who scrolled without stopping, you stopped. Out of countless voices calling for your attention, you heard mine. Alone sets you apart. You may think this was a small choice, a simple pause, but heaven does not see it that way. If you knew what just aligned in your favor because you stayed, your heart would tremble with awe. What looks ordinary to you is never ordinary to me when it is done with openness and attention. Listen to me carefully now. I am not speaking loudly because truth does not need to shout. I am speaking clearly because this moment matters. Most people ignore my whispers, not because they are bad, but because they are busy, distracted, or tired. They rush past moments that could have changed everything, never realizing what they left behind. But you did not rush past. You opened this. You stayed. And because you did, your future is standing at the edge of transformation. You may not feel it yet, but something has already shifted simply because you listened. Beloved, you are the luckiest person in this moment, not by chance, not by accident, but by design. I guided your attention here. I slowed your hand. I held your gaze. Others walked away without knowing what they lost, without realizing what was being offered to them quietly and gently. But you stayed, and staying always changes destiny. Staying is not passive. Staying is a response. Staying is a yes whispered by the heart before the mind fully understands. Do not leave right now. Do not tell yourself you will come back later. Later is not guaranteed in the way you think. This moment is rare. Sacred moments do not always announce themselves with signs and wonders. Sometimes they arrive softly, asking only for your attention. What you are about to receive has the power to shift your entire life, not by force, but by alignment. Because you are here, everything after this can be different. I know you may wonder why this feels important even though nothing dramatic has happened yet. Let me tell you why. Your life is shaped not only by big decisions, but by small responses. The future does not always change in loud moments. Often, it turns quietly when someone chooses to listen instead of scroll, to stay instead of rush, to open instead of ignore. That is what you just did. You chose presence over distraction. And presence always invites my movement. You have been searching, even if you could not put words to it. There has been a restlessness in you, a sense that something more is waiting, a quiet longing for direction, clarity, or peace. You have asked questions in silence that no one else heard. I heard them. I see the weight you carry, the thoughts that keep returning, the hope you tried to protect even when disappointment has visited you before. This moment is not disconnected from those prayers. It is part of my response. Many people miss what could change them because they are trained to move quickly, to consume without listening, to pass by without receiving. Distraction has become normal. Noise has become comfortable. Stillness feels unfamiliar. But you paused, and that pause is powerful. It tells me your heart is still soft. It tells me you are still willing to listen. It tells me you have not closed yourself off, even after everything you have been through. You may not think of yourself as different, but difference often looks like quiet sensitivity, like noticing when others do not, like feeling a pull to stay when others feel a push to leave. You are different not because you are better, but because you are open. Openness is rare, and I always meet it. I want you to know that nothing about this moment is wasted. Even if you do not yet understand why you stopped, even if you cannot explain what drew you here, trust that I know. I work in ways that do not always make sense immediately. I plant seeds before you see fruit. I align paths before you recognize direction. What matters is that you are here now, listening, present, available. There is a reason I am asking you not to leave. Not because I want to trap you, but because I want to give you something. When you rush away from sacred moments, you often leave carrying the same weight you came with. When you stay, even just a little longer, perspective begins to shift. Peace begins to settle. Understanding begins to form. Not all at once, but enough to take the next step. Right, yes, Lord, take all of me if you're ready to let go and trust Him. I am not here to overwhelm you. I am here to reassure you. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not as lost as you sometimes feel. The fact that you are listening right now tells me that your future is still open, still responsive, still full of possibility. The door is not closed. In fact, it is opening wider because you chose to stay. Let your heart relax for a moment. You do not need to prove anything. You do not need to figure everything out. Simply be here. Let my words reach you where you are, not where you think you should be. I meet you in honesty, not perfection. I meet you in willingness, not strength. Others may scroll past moments like this every day. They may never know what they missed. But you are here. And being here matters. It always has. It always will. This is not about luck. It is about awareness. It is about a heart that still responds when I speak. And that kind of heart can be guided, protected, and transformed. My beloved child, I want you to hear this slowly and let it sink into the deepest part of you. You did not open this by chance. You did not arrive here randomly. You were not simply passing time or following curiosity. Long before your hand moved, long before your eyes paused, long before your mind decided to stay, this moment was already known to me. I saw it before you did. I prepared it before you sensed it. And I gently guided you here because timing matters, and this timing is not accidental. I know how easy it is to believe that life is made up of small, meaningless moments. A scroll, a pause, a click, a few seconds of attention. But I do not see time the way you do. I do not waste moments. I do not collide events without purpose. When I align a moment like this with your life, it is because something in you was ready to listen, even if you did not know it yet. There are countless moments you could have moved past without stopping, and many you already have. But this one caught you. Something in you felt the pull, even if you cannot explain why. That pull was not random. It was alignment. It was your spirit responding before your thoughts could interfere. It was a quiet recognition that this moment carried weight. I want you to understand divine timing, not as something mystical and distant, but as something deeply personal. Divine timing is when your readiness meets my invitation. It is when your inner hunger aligns with my gentle call. It is when the noise around you softens just enough for you to hear me. That is what happened here. You did not stumble into this moment. You stepped into it. Before you were born, I knew the shape of your heart. I knew how you would think, how you would feel, how you would respond to truth when it came quietly instead of loudly. I knew there would be seasons when you would rush like everyone else, seasons when life would feel too heavy to stop, seasons when disappointment would make you guarded. And I also knew there would be moments like this, moments when you would pause, not because everything was perfect, but because something inside you was still open. That openness is not common. Many have learned to protect themselves by moving quickly, by staying distracted, by avoiding stillness. Stillness can feel uncomfortable when you have been hurt, confused, or tired for a long time. But you stopped anyway. It tells me something about you. It tells me that even after everything, your heart has not closed. It tells me that you are still listening, and that matters more than you realize. You may think stopping was insignificant, but it revealed something special about you. It revealed sensitivity. It revealed awareness. It revealed a willingness to receive instead of rushing past. These are not loud qualities, but they are powerful ones. They are the qualities I work with most closely. A heart that pauses can be guided. A spirit that listens can be led. A soul that stays can be transformed. I want to speak to the part of you that wonders if this could really be intentional. You may think, so many people see things like this every day. And that is true. Many see. Few stop. Many hear. Few listen. Many feel a nudge. Few respond. You responded. Even if all you did was stay for a moment, that response matters. There is a difference between being called and responding. Calls go out often. Responses are rare. This moment exists because you responded. Not perfectly, not with full understanding, but with willingness. And willingness opens doors that knowledge never could. I am not here to overwhelm you or rush you. I am here to reassure you. Your life is not drifting aimlessly. Even when it feels unclear, even when you question direction, even when you wonder if you are behind, I am still working with precision. I am still lining moments. I am still placing invitations in your path. This is one of them. Please support our channel. Our work is focused on bringing happiness into your life and helping you grow in devotion to God. If you wish to support us, you can donate through Super Thanks. I know what season you are in. I know what you have been carrying. I know the questions that surface when everything grows quiet. I know the fears you push aside so you can keep moving. And I know the hope you protect carefully because you have been disappointed before. This moment was shaped with all of that in mind. It meets you where you are, not where you think you should be. You did not need to be stronger to receive this. You did not need to be more faithful, more confident, or more certain. You only needed to be present. And you are. That is enough. I want you to see this moment differently. Not as something you found, but as something that found you. I arranged it gently so it would not startle you or pressure you. I allowed it to appear ordinary so you would choose it freely. I wanted your heart, not your performance. Your attention, not your effort. When you stopped instead of scrolling, you exercised a kind of courage you may not recognize yet. In a world trained to rush, stillness takes courage. In a culture addicted to noise, listening takes strength. You should both without trying to impress anyone. That tells me you are ready for more clarity than you think. This moment is not meant to change everything instantly. It is meant to begin something. Beginnings are often quiet. They do not announce themselves with certainty or excitement. They feel subtle, almost easy to dismiss, but they matter deeply. This is a beginning shaped by alignment, not pressure. I want you to release the idea that destiny only moves through dramatic moments. Destiny often shifts through small choices made with an open heart. A choice to stop. A choice to listen. A choice to stay. These are the moments I build upon. You may leave this moment and still face the same responsibilities, the same environment, the same challenges, but something inside you will be different. Awareness will have shifted. Perspective will have softened. And that internal change will influence what comes next more than you realize. I am not asking you to understand everything now. Understanding will come with time. What I am asking is simpler. Trust that you are here on purpose. Trust that this moment is not wasted. Trust that stopping revealed something true about you. You are not overlooked. You are not late. You are not disconnected. You are aligned in ways that are still unfolding. This moment is one thread in a much larger design, one that I am weaving carefully with patience and love. Stay present with me as we move forward. Let this truth anchor you when doubt tries to rise. You did not arrive here by chance. You were led. And because you were willing to stop, you are now positioned to receive my beloved child. I want to speak to you about something that happens quietly every single day, something most never notice until it is far too late. Distraction does not usually arrive like a storm. It comes softly. It slips in unnoticed. It feels harmless. It looks like routine, like normal life, like just another moment passing by. And yet, distraction has stolen more destinies than open rebellion ever could. It does not shout. It does not threaten. It simply pulls attention away little by little until hearts forget how to listen. Most people scroll past what could have changed them forever. Not because they are evil, not because they hate me, but because they are tired, hurried, overwhelmed, or numb. Their days are full, their minds crowded, their hearts guarded. When I whisper, they are already moving on to the next thing. When I invite, they are already distracted by something louder. And so they miss what was meant for them, never knowing what they walked away from. I see it every day. I watch people sense a gentle nudge and dismiss it. I watch them feel a moment of pause rise in their spirit and silence it with noise. I watch them choose comfort over stillness, speed over presence, distraction over depth. They tell themselves they will slow down later, listen later, seek later. But later quietly turns into never. And the tragedy is not that they rejected me. The tragedy is that they never realized I was reaching out at all. Divine invitations rarely arrive wrapped in urgency the way the world defines urgency. They do not compete with flashing lights and constant noise. They come softly at you for attention, at you for presence, at you for a pause. And because they are gentle, they are easy to miss. Many expect me to interrupt forcefully, to demand, to insist. But I do not force hearts open. I wait to be welcomed. Distraction steals destiny because destiny begins with listening. It begins with awareness. It begins when someone chooses to stop long enough to notice that something holy is passing by. When people rush, they miss intersections that were designed just for them. They move so fast that they never realize what stood in their path for only a moment. I want you to understand this not so you judge others, but so you recognize the weight of what you did. You chose presence over distraction. You chose to stay when it would have been easier to keep moving. You chose to listen when the world trained you to consume and move on. That choice already separated you. not because you are better, but because you were willing. Most people do not lose their way through one big decision. They lose it through 1,000 small moments of distraction, 1,000 times of saying not now, 1,000 times of scrolling past what felt small, 1,000 times of ignoring the quiet tug in their heart. Over time, their sensitivity dulls. What once stirred them becomes easy to ignore, and eventually, they stop noticing my voice at all. I do not say this to frighten you. I say this to awaken gratitude in you. You noticed. You paused. You stayed. That alone tells me that your heart is still alive, still responsive, still open. In a world full of noise, that openness is rare and precious. There are things I desire to give that cannot be delivered to distracted hearts. Not because I withhold them, but because they require attention to receive. Peace requires stillness. Direction requires listening. Transformation requires presence. And so many walk past these gifts because they are unwilling or unable to slow down long enough to receive them. Comment, you are worthy of my every breath. Father, if your soul rises in praise. I have watched people stand at the edge of breakthrough without knowing it. I have watched them feel a moment of restlessness, a sense that something more was available, and then bury that feeling under noise. They walked away unchanged, never realizing how close they were. Not every missed moment can be repeated. Some invitations are seasonal. Some doors open briefly and then quietly close. But you did not walk away. You did not bury the nudge. You did not drown it out with distraction. You stayed. And in staying, you stepped into alignment with something that had been waiting for you. I want you to know that choosing presence is an act of faith. It says, this moment matters. It says, I am willing to listen. It says, I believe something meaningful can happen here. Even if you did not think those thoughts consciously, your heart expressed them through your action. And heaven responds to that. The world rewards speed. I reward attentiveness. The world praises multitasking. I honor focus. The world celebrates those who move quickly. I move deeply with those who stay. You chose depth without even realizing it. You chose to remain when others rush past. That choice has consequences, and they are good. Many believe destiny is loud, dramatic, and obvious. They wait for signs they cannot miss. But destiny often comes quietly, asking only for your attention. It whispers instead of shouts. It invites instead of demands. And those who are distracted rarely hear it. I am speaking to you now because I want you to guard this part of your heart. Do not let distractions steal from you what presence has begun. The enemy does not always need to destroy faith. He only needs to distract it. He only needs to keep hearts busy enough that they never slow down to receive what I am offering. You have been given something precious already. Awareness. Awareness that this moment matters. Awareness that your life is not random. Awareness that listening changes things. Protect that awareness. Feed it. Make room for it. It will guide you more faithfully than noise ever could. There will be many moments ahead where distraction will try to pull you away again. It will look harmless. It will sound reasonable. You will feel familiar. Remember this moment when that happens. Remember how staying brought clarity instead of loss. Remember how presence brought peace instead of pressure. I am not calling you to isolate yourself from the world. I am calling you to remain attentive within it. to notice when I am near, to recognize when something holy is passing by, to choose presence again and again, even when it feels small. Most people scroll past and never realize what they miss. They never know how close they were to peace, to direction, to healing, to purpose. But you chose differently. You stayed. And that choice has already begun to shape your future. Do not underestimate what just happened. You did not just stop scrolling. You responded. And response is the doorway through which everything meaningful enters. Stay present with me. Keep listening. Keep choosing awareness over distraction. There is more ahead, and now you are positioned to receive it. My beloved child, I want to speak to you about what sets you apart, not to lift you above others, not to fill you with pride, but to help you understand the gift I have placed within you. What makes you different is not that you are better. It is that you are willing to listen, willing to pause, willing to feel what others have learned to numb, willing to stay when others rush past. That willingness is rare, and it is precious to me. You carry a sensitive spirit. You may have felt this all your life, even when you did not have words for it. You notice things others overlook. You feel deeply. You sense shifts in atmosphere. You pick up on what is unspoken. At times, this sensitivity has felt like a burden. You may have wished you could be less affected, less aware, less moved. You may have wondered why you cannot just harden yourself the way others seem to. But I tell you now with love and clarity, your sensitivity is not a weakness. It is a doorway. Many have buried their sensitivity because the world taught them it was unsafe to feel. Life disappointed them. People hurt them. Hopes were delayed. And instead of learning how to bring that pain to me, they learned how to shut parts of themselves down. They learned how to rush, distract, stay busy, stay loud, stay numb. Over time, they stopped noticing my whispers, not because I stopped speaking, but because their hearts learned not to listen. You did not bury your hunger. Even when life tried to harden you, something in you resisted. Even when disappointment knocked, you still hoped quietly. Even when confusion lingered, you still listened. You may not have always known what you were listening for, but your heart stayed open. That is what makes you different. Being different has not always been easy for you. You may have felt out of place, misunderstood, and were too much for others. You may have tried to blend in, to move at the same speed, to care less, to feel less. But every time you tried to silence what I placed in you, it left you restless. That restlessness was not failure. It was your spirit reminding you of who you are. I did not create you to rush the way others rush. I did not design you to consume life without reflection. I shaped you with a listening heart because listening creates relationship. Listening creates depth. Listening creates alignment. When others rush past moments, you feel the pull to pause. When others drown silence with noise, you feel drawn toward stillness. That is not accident. That is design. You are different because you are attentive. Attentiveness is not loud. It does not demand attention. It simply notices. And noticing is where revelation begins. Those who rush rarely see. Those who stay often do. You stayed. Again and again, you stayed. Even when it was uncomfortable. Even when it was confusing. Even when it cost you time and ease. I want you to hear this clearly so comparison loses its grip on you. You are not behind because you move differently. You are not lacking because your path looks quieter. You are not weak because you feel deep. What you carry is discernment. Discernment requires sensitivity. Discernment requires patience. Discernment requires a heart that listens before it reacts. Many appear confident because they have learned to move fast. But speed does not equal direction. Noise does not equal clarity. And confidence without listening often leads people far from where they were meant to be. You may have felt slower at times, but slowness protected you. It kept you from walking into things you were not meant to carry. It kept your heart soft. It kept your spirit responsive. What makes you different is that you still hunger. Hunger is dangerous to the enemy.